And thank you for staying with us here on Open. April is Autism Awareness Month, and here in the Bronx, there are many community centers, organizations, and movements that continue to support families, like the NYC Autism Charter School, aiming to provide quality education to children with autism, with locations in both the Bronx as well as Harlem. Here now to tell us more is Julie Fisher, the Executive Director of NYC Autism Charter Schools, and we welcome you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you. And as we know, April is Autism Awareness Month.
Right.
And so a lot of focus has been going on in making people aware about children with autism. And so give us from your perspective, you know, when you look at autism and the accomplishments that are being made, where are we coming so far? A lot of strides have been made.
Yeah. There have, and I mean, I think that, you know, the first thing to understand is it's a spectrum. So the saying in the autism world is when you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism, because kids are really so different from one another. I think there's been a lot of focus on research and trying to find a cause, and there have been gains made in that arena, but the bottom line is we still don't know a whole lot. And really what we need to do, looking at the numbers of kids with autism and families that are struggling, is figure out how to provide the right kind of education and support to all of these kids, and that's what we're trying to do.
So you got two beautiful schools. You had one in East Harlem, and you got one that opened up the fall in the Bronx. So I know you're excited about, let's talk about the Bronx first, right? So we'll talk about the school in the Bronx.
Yeah, we're so excited. We have a permanent home now on 1180 Tinton Avenue. We're co-located with two wonderful district public schools who have been nothing but welcoming to us. Right now we serve 20 students there, ages 5 to about 8. We go up to the age of 12 there, hope to at some point go all the way to 21, which is the age range that we serve in East Harlem. And it's just such a great community. You know, we have been open in East Harlem for a while, and when we looked at our wait list and the number of families applying, we saw a huge percentage of families from the Bronx who were really eager for better education for their kids, and we just knew this was the borough to come to for our second school.
So when you talk about having a school, right? Beautiful community, by the way. Big shout out to my cousins and my aunt and uncle. They live right there on Tinton Avenue, so I know exactly where you're talking about. When you talk about the school itself, what is an actual day like for a student?
Yeah, so it's very different than your average school. You know, we focus certainly on academics, but do a lot of work outside of the academic arena, because when we look at what our kids need to learn, it's a lot of things like life skills, self-care. You know, many of our kids who are profoundly affected by autism may not speak, they may not know how to take care of themselves, need help dressing, learning to brush their teeth. So we do all of those things. And so our setting really allows for the kind of teaching that's just beyond, you know, regular reading, writing, and math. Also, all of our students in the Bronx get one-to-one instruction. So in every classroom, we have an adult for every student there. And that really allows us to provide the kind of individualized attention and develop a curriculum that's sort of unique to each student that's there.
So in terms of taking students on, right? Still availability for students to come and be a part?
So we are growing for next year. We're at 20 right now. We're going to be growing to 32. So encourage families to go to our website. And, you know, certainly we are available as a resource to the community as well. And always, you know, we can only serve a certain number of kids, but want to be a resource to families.
With great strides come great challenges.
Yes.
So kind of ask you, what are some of the challenges you're facing?
Well, I mean, I think it's, you know, it's really hard to figure out how to create the right education for students who are so different from one another. And I think, you know, the sort of typical education model is you present instruction to a whole group of students and expect that they're all going to learn. And for our kids, we know that's definitely not the case, and there really needs to be a level of individualization as well as a lot of work with families. You know, our families are dealing with a lot of things. I always say autism doesn't end at 2:45 when we dismiss. Families are dealing with lots of things and struggles. You know, some of our kids may be food selective and only eat 2 foods. They may not sleep well at night. They may not be able to tolerate getting a haircut or going to the doctor. And so working hand in hand with families allows us to develop a curriculum and ensure that we're targeting skills that are going to make our students as independent and engaged with their families and communities as possible.
And you led into what I want to talk about, because I wanted to talk about families, right? Because it is a challenge. And you said each individual student has their own individual. Are there support services that are available for families, especially like dealing?
There are, and I think one of the important pieces of a quality education program is working with parents as partners. And so we have regular, what we call clinic meetings that we schedule with families where they're invited in. It's not just a meeting at a table with adults. They're in the classroom watching their child in instruction. They're giving us input about what they're struggling with at home. We're helping to train them. We use that as a training opportunity. And we also do home visits. So we're actually in the home with them. You know, many of our students may come to us not able to use the toilet independently. So we will teach them at school, and then we go home and make sure parents are able to do that as well.
Awesome work that goes on. So you have the individualized care, and that's important. And you got students who are actually coming and participating. And it's got to be a great feeling though, because as you said, each student is independent of themselves, but also to have all are struggling with the same challenge. So is there a sense of comfort there, knowing that, hey, I've got somebody who I can identify with?
There really is. And I mean, I think that goes for our staff too. We're really such a close-knit family between staff members and family members and the students themselves. We have, you know, we've been around for a lot longer in East Harlem, and we have some students that have been together from the time they were 5 and are now teens, and have developed such close bonds and connections, and it's really amazing to see.
Well, great. Thank you so much for coming and sharing.
Thank
you know, the great work that you're doing in the Bronx, East Harlem. Julie Fisher, Executive Director, NYC Autism Charter Schools. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now listen, if you want to find out more and you want to enroll your child, you can visit nycautismcharterschools.org, and you can get more information and enroll. Listen, don't go anywhere. We got more show coming up. We'll be right back right after this.